That moment when loss hits, it's a universal punch to the gut, isn't it?
It really is, whether it's someone or a dream or just what used to be, that ache.
We all know it. And in those, well, disorienting times, we often just grasp for anything, right? Something to offer a bit of solace.
A sliver of understanding, maybe.
Exactly. And today we're digging into a really powerful journey from ancient India, a story that's deeply rooted in this very human experience of grief.
We're looking at the story of Kisāgotamī. She was a woman in Sāvatthī, grappling with, well, the devastating loss of her first child.
Yeah, and our guides for this deep dive are excerpts from the commentary on the Dhammapada, the collection of early Buddhist teachings.
Right, and these sources, they shed light on Kisāgotamī's life. She apparently came from a poor background initially.
But then married into wealth, had a son, and then the unthinkable happened.
And the texts pick up right there in the immediate aftermath. She refuses to accept her son's death. She's carrying his body, desperately looking for medicine, a way to bring him back.
It's heartbreaking. And what's really striking, I think, is this contrast in her life experience.
Yeah, moving from hardship to comfort probably meant she hadn't been, directly exposed to death in the same way many others might have been.
So her reaction, while completely understandable as a mother,
to others, it looked like madness. The commentary actually mentions this. It highlights how alone she was in that overwhelming grief.
It really it underscores the power of a mother's love, doesn't it? And the sheer difficulty of accepting something so final.
Absolutely. But then, in her frantic search, she meets someone, a wise man.
And he doesn't just dismiss her.
No, not at all. He sees her pain, understands maybe it stems from this lack of familiarity with death around her, and he gives her some unusual advice.
Which is?
He suggests she go seek out the Buddha, ask the enlightened one for medicine.
Ah, okay. So not a conventional approach.
Not at all. And this is a key turning point, really. He's directing her towards a deeper kind of wisdom, not just a physical cure she was hoping for.
It suggests he understood she needed something more profound.
It's exactly insight into life itself.
So Kisāgotamī, still holding her son, goes to the Buddha. She makes her plea, medicine for my son.
And the Buddha, with, immense compassion, doesn't just shut her down. Instead, he gives her a task.
The famous mustard seeds.
The famous mustard seeds. Go get a handful, he says. Simple enough, right?
But there's a catch.
A huge catch. They have to come from a house where no one has ever died.
Wow. Okay. The brilliance of that is, well, it's subtle, but powerful.
It really is. Because mustard seeds. Common. Every house would have them.
But the condition forces her to confront something fundamental, doesn't it? Without him having to lecture her.
Precisely. She has to discover it herself. So she sets off through the village, door to door, probably hopeful at first.
You can picture her asking at each house, mustard seed, from a home untouched by death, for my son.
And the responses. They're kind, offering the seeds readily. But then comes the truth.
Always the same truth.
Always. They share their own losses. The commentary paraphrases them, saying things like, "Oh, mother, what are you saying? The living are few, the dead are many."
Oh, man. So each door she knocks on just reinforces this universal reality.
Yeah, that journey is her transformation. She starts in her own isolated bubble of grief.
And is slowly, house by house, brought face to face with everyone else's suffering, the collective reality.
These repeated stories, they chip away at her focus on her own tragedy. She starts to see the bigger picture.
So by the end of the day, no seeds.
Not a single one from a deathless house. And the weight of that realization, it starts to sink in.
Exhausted, heartbroken. But something's changed.
Definitely. She returns to the Buddha. Without the seeds, the mission technically failed.
But in that failure, there's this profound understanding starting to bloom.
She gets it. Death isn't just her tragedy. It's the common fate of everyone.
And then she does something significant.
Yes, she leaves her son's body in the forest. Let's go. And returns to the Buddha. Not looking for medicine anymore.
But maybe for understanding. Solace?
Perhaps. Her return marks that critical shift. The commentary notes how her heart, consumed by love and grief before, now starts to face the truth of death's universality.
Releasing the body is symbolic then, letting go of that desperate clinging.
Exactly. Opening herself up to the Buddha's wisdom.
And the Buddha sees this change in her.
He does. And he speaks to her about the nature of life and death, explains its inevitability.
Using that powerful analogy.
The flood. Like a huge flood sweeping away a sleeping village. That's how death carries away those whose minds are tightly bound attached.
Attached to children, possessions, life as they know it.
Right. The verse from the source is quite direct. That person who is intent on children and cattle, whose mind is attached, death takes away that man as a great flood sweeps away a sleeping village.
It really hits home, and it points to attachment as the root.
That's the core of it. It's not denying the grief, but showing how clinging to what's impermanent, well, it intensifies the suffering, like clutching sand, right?
The tighter you hold, the faster it slips away.
Precisely. The flood analogy just underscores how sudden, inescapable death is. You can't resist it.
And it's after this teaching that she reaches a milestone.
Yes, sotāpatti.
Sotāpatti, remind us what that signifies.
It means stream entry. It's the first stage of awakening in Buddhism, a fundamental shift in understanding, turning towards liberation.
And a major breakthrough.
Huge. And the commentary adds that many others listening also gained insight then. Shows the power of the teaching.
So she's had this initial awakening, but she wants to go deeper.
Right. She asks for ordination, becomes a bhikkhuni, a nun.
And there's another key moment during her practice.
Yes. The commentary describes her meditating in the Upasila hall, the place for monastic gatherings. She's watching the oil lamps.
The flames flickering.
Flickering and then extinguishing. And watching this simple, everyday thing sparks another profound realization.
How so?
She sees it directly. Just like those flames arise and then cease. So do all beings. Birth, death, the cycle.
And nirvana.
Those who've attained nirvana, liberation, they aren't apparent in that cycle anymore. It's like the flame that's gone out. You can't point to where it is. It's cessation.
Wow. So moving from an intellectual idea of impermanence to actually seeing it.
Exactly. Experiential insight.
And then the Buddha offers one final teaching, even though he wasn't physically there.
Yeah. It's described as him appearing to her through his radiant light. A beautiful image. And he gives her this teaching about nirvana itself.
What does he emphasize?
The sheer value of understanding the deathless state, even for a moment. He says a single day lived seeing it is better than 100 years without that understanding.
There's a verse for that too, isn't there?
There is. Though one should live 100 years without seeing the deathless state, better is a single day's life of one who sees the deathless state.
The deathless state. Amatam padam.
Oh, dam padam, yes. The commentary explains it as the great nirvana, liberation from all suffering, realizing that unchanging, deathless reality.
And this final teaching leads her to
Arahatship, full enlightenment, the complete end of suffering, the end of the cycle of rebirth.
the culmination of her entire journey.
Exactly. And she also gains the Patisampitta deep analytical insights into the teachings, from inconsolable grief to complete liberation. It's quite a path.
It truly is. Kisāgotamī's story, then, it's just such a powerful example. Facing the deepest pain, but with wisdom as a guide, it can lead to incredible transformation.
It really can. She went from feeling her tragedy was unique, completely isolating,
To understanding the universal nature of suffering and death.
and finding not just comfort in that, but, well, the path to ultimate peace.
So the core takeaway for you listening is really about that universality, that feeling of being uniquely afflicted. It's common. We all feel that sometimes.
But her journey shows that acknowledging the shared nature of loss, of impermanence, can be, strangely, a step towards peace. It opens up the possibility of moving beyond just clinging.
And finding wisdom in how things actually are.
The true, impermanent nature of reality.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? How does really truly accepting the inevitability of loss, how might that change how you value your life, your connections right now?
Yeah, what's the mustard seed truth, maybe, that you're searching for in your own life?
Yeah.
And what wisdom could be waiting there?